بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الدين عند الله الإسلام وقال الله سبحانه وتعالى ومن يبتغي غير الإسلام دينا فلن يقبل منه وهو في الآخرة من الخاسرين صدق الله العظيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وبارك وسلم. One of the scholars of our Indian subcontinent by the name of Maulana Mufti Muhammad Amin Sahib, he says that out of all the treasures out of everything that's in the treasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such as we have food, clothes, air, water. There are many things that are in the treasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that a human being requires for him to survive on this earth. The more of what you need, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it easy for us to get access to. For example, gold, silver, jewelry. It is not a very important requirement. Therefore, it is more difficult to get these sort of items. And if you look at water is more required than gold and jewelry. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had made it easy for us to get water. And then if you look at, for example, oxygen is more required. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it even more easier for us to have oxygen in our life. Now, out of all the treasures, everything that's in the treasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most important thing that we need we as a human being need is guidance, is hidayat. That's the most important thing that we need. However, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so great that He has made hidayat, He has made guidance for us to have and for us to gain very easy. It is very easy for us to gain guidance. Now, if a person has guidance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him hidayat. He may have nothing of this world. He may be living with, very old clothes. He may be living in a hut. He may not have, a sufficient amount of food. But he has guidance. This person is successful in this world and is also successful in the hereafter. And on the opposite of this, we have another person who's got everything of this world. All the luxuries of this world, all the glitter of this world, all the wealth of this world, all the different types of food of this world. He has everything of this world. There's nothing missed out. The only thing that's missed out and he's deprived from hidayat, he's deprived of guidance. This person is a failure, he's nakam, he doesn't have anything. In the next world, he is empty. So hidayat and guidance is very, important. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the 24th juz that وَلَوْ أَنَّ لِلَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا وَمِثْلَهُ مَعَهُ لَافْتَدَوْا بِهِ مِنْ سُوءِ الْعَذَابِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is drawing a picture here that on the day of judgment, if these sinful people, if they were to, in exchange of the punishment, if they were to give everything that's on the earth, everything that's similar to it, in exchange to be saved from the punishment, they would do so. But obviously, you can't do that. Now, what is that thing that they're looking for, able to be protected from the punishment? Is hidayat, is guidance. So this explains and this, puts it forward to us very clearly that the hidayat and guidance is very, very important. Now, how do we get hidayat? How do we get guidance? Number one as one way of getting hidayat is by making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every day we read salah, we read raka'at. Every raka'at in the beginning we read Surah Al-Fatiha. And in Surah Al-Fatiha we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this guidance towards the straight path. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. So this is a dua that we make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to be guided in the right path. The second way of earning this hidayat and this guidance is وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. That we have to struggle, we have to strive, we have to put a foot and put pressure on our nafs and do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to do the mehnat and the work of the deen. And when through our effort, through our harkat and movement, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give hidayat. He gives an example that, if a person, he is a milkman, for example, he goes around delivering the milk. Now, it is possible that the people on the street might not get the milk, but he will have milk in his home. He is a milkman, most likely he will have milk in his own home. Then he gives another example of a baker. A person who's got a bakery, he makes, for example, chapati or something. Now, it's possible the rest of the people in the street will not have any chapati or will not have any bread in their homes, but because he is the one who makes and cooks, he will most likely have that in his own home. So when a person does mehnat for the deen, when a person does mehnat behind hidayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also put hidayat in his life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will also put guidance in his life. So it's important that we understand that hidayat is very important and guidance is very important. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he explains that, how valuable this hidayat towards the right path and this iman is, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that if the heavens and the earth and all that is, whatever it contains, everything was to be brought into, if you have a scale on one pan on one side, if everything was to be placed in there, everything, imagine what's in this world, from the wealth and everything that's in the world, everything was to be put into this one side of the weight in one pan, and on the other side, the small paper with the shahada written on it was placed on the other side. This would outweigh the other. So this shows how valuable this iman we have. This shows how important this iman we have. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given guidance. Now, how do we protect this hidayat? How do we protect this guidance? How do we protect our iman? Hazrat Maulana Ashraf Thanvi rahmatullahi alayhi has prescribed 3 things. So inshallah, we like to take these 3 things from today. Number 1, do shukr on iman daily. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a daily basis. Every morning, every evening. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Islam. Alhamdulillah ala ni'mat al-Iman. That I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this gift of iman and for this gift of Islam. When we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَإِن شَكَرْتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, we will increase. So every morning when we wake up for Fajr Salah, along with our other adhkar that we may have, thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the hidayat and for the iman that He has given us. And same before we go to sleep, again with the other adhkar that we may have, include that in there as well, where we're thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this guidance and for this hidayat. That's first method, that we do shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a daily basis on this ni'mat of iman. Number 2, after every farz salah, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Quran. Surah number 3, Surah Al-Imran, ayat number 8. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. So this is a dua that we should make after every farz salah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us this dua. If He has taught us this dua and He wants us to make this dua, that means He will accept it. If the king tells a person that, look, if you want to take something from me, this is the procedure. And if you were to follow the procedure, obviously the king wants to give it to you. That's why He's taught you that procedure. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to give us, He wants our du'as to be accepted, so He has shown us the method that we have to do it now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our du'a. So in this du'a, we're asking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that after He has given us guidance, that He doesn't make our hearts go crooked and go astray. Now, He's given us guidance, so we want to stay firm on this guidance. Now, we're living in a very challenging time, very, very challenging time. There's so many stories that we can come up to, but inshallah we'll cut it short here. So make this dua. Along with this as well, you've got another dua, Ya Muqallib al-Qulub, Thabbit Qalbi ala Dinik. We're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh changer of the hearts, our hearts are in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can change however He wants. So if we continue making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance, and we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to stay firm on this guidance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our dua. And number 3 is to adopt the company of the pious and attend the gathering of deen. The third method prescribed by Maulana Ashraf Thanvi rahmatullahi alayhi in order to protect our iman is to adopt the company of the pious and attend the gatherings of deen where the mudhakara of the Quran and the hadith takes place. Yesterday after Zuhr Salah, this was also emphasized as well, that we should have the company. Now company at the moment in the current time is 2 types. One is the physical company and the second is digital company. Or just my own wording, but hopefully it makes sense. So physical company is what we have. Physically we go to a person where we sit in the front of the person, we stay in the circle. So that company that we have has a big impact. It has an influence on the person. Mufti Abdullah Sahib yesterday, he emphasized on this and he elaborated on this as well. And the digital company what I'm talking about is online. Who we follow, who we listen to, who we watch, who we try to imitate. That also has an influence. Sometimes a person, he doesn't have many physical friends, he doesn't hang around with many people, but he's constantly online. He's constantly online. Now whoever he is following, whoever he is watching, whoever he is looking up to, that person will have an influence on this person and he will be imitating that. So we have to be very, very careful that who we follow, who we are. First of all, we all know yesterday when Shurahbil highlighted about the harms of social media. At the young age, for us to have social media is like giving a knife to a child. It's like giving a knife to a child. The child will think that this is a very shiny toy, but the parent will know the harms of it. At this, at young age, under 16, under 18, if you don't need social media, we should not have any social media at all. Waste our valuable time of our life, valuable part of our life, where a person should be, studying, a person should be progressing. These inventors of these gadgets, they themselves don't allow their children to have these gadgets in their homes until a certain age, because they know, they've seen it at first hand, the nuqsan and the harms of these gadgets. So they themselves do not allow their children to have it. Some parents, they don't realize the pressure of the child because of the company that he's in, puts the pressure on the parents, and the parents end up giving up. The child is only 5, 6, 7, and he's got the latest phone in his hand. After that, there's no supervision. The parent don't know. The child is not allowing the parents to see what's happening. So the child is on their phone, is on the gadget, whenever, however. Then there's so much harm in there. We don't realize the harm. Sometimes we do. Sometimes something happens. We do see the harm. There's a scholar in Oldham, Mufti Atiq Sahib, one of the graduates of Black Darul Uloom. He has written a book on the parenting. So in there he's mentioned a story. He's a school teacher himself. So he says in this school teacher, there was a girl, she received a smartphone on her birthday on the age of 8. Is that right or wrong? That's a different topic. But she received this smartphone. Before this, mashallah, she was doing very well in her studies. Then after the phone that she received, the teachers and the parents noticed difference in her attitude. And somehow the girl brought the phone into the school and it was confiscated. In the beginning, when the phone was confiscated, she started crying. She started to cry. So the teachers asked her, what are you crying for? So she opened up and said that, look, I've got some messages in there I don't want my parent to see. Now the point that we are highlighting is about giving a smartphone to a child and there's no supervision of it. There's no control of it. So the messages that they, after investigating, realized that she's actually on her social media app talking to a 38-year-old man from other part of the country who's sending him images himself without clothes on, and he is pressuring her to send her images to her. So this is the nuqsan, this is the harm. So it's very, very important that we, first of all, the children should realize that we shouldn't put the pressure on our parents to have these sort of phones. And the parents should also realize that, you wouldn't give any harmful objects to the child. So a phone in the child's hand, it is harmful. It is, very, very dangerous. People are losing their iman because of this. They're surfing the net, they are listening to, and whoever they want. Everything's on the internet now. So people are losing their iman. So it's very important that we, first of all, be very careful. Now, there's another point here we would like to highlight is that if there are gadgets in the homes. Alhamdulillah, one of our local volunteers and local brother, he has a principle in his home. He has a set rule in his home that after a certain time in the evening, the internet switches off. So the parents, the children, everybody's phone will remain in the, for example, downstairs somewhere. And when they're going upstairs to sleep, nobody will have their smartphones at all. Nobody's allowed, the internet will go off and everything will cut off. So in that way, there is control over there's some sort of control over the usage of the phone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just to summarize, iman, hidayat, guidance is very valuable. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us from first day. We need to do two things. One is to make dua for continue to giving his guidance. Number two is to strive for the deen. By striving for the deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give his guidance. Now, how do you protect this iman? Number one is to shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a daily basis. Number two is to make dua. رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْوَهَّابُ. After every farz salah. And number three, adopt the company of the pious. By adopting the company of the pious, the deen will come complete into our life. So when we sit in the company of the pious, sit in the intention that I want to change my life, I want to become a better person, I want to become, a person who has complete deen in his life. So inshallah, when we have these 3 points in our lives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us, will protect our iman, and also that we'll be able to leave this world with this kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give myself and give everybody the ability to bring this point into our lives. Allahumma ameen. Subhanallah bihamdihi. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati ma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al-mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.